Hey everyone, good to be with you again today. All right, so this one's going to be interesting. We are talking about the 12 common misconceptions about Nigeria. So I want you guys to follow along. If you have any questions, whatever your misconceptions might be about Nigeria, post in the comment section and let me answer them for you. Listen, I was born in Nigeria. I'm based in the United States. I've seen it all and I've done it all. I went to boarding school in Nigeria. I went to high school in Nigeria. Went to middle school in the United States. Went to college in the United States. I've been conducting business in Nigeria now for the past 5 years, since 2020. So I'm in position to, from my own experience, answer the 12 common misconceptions about our beloved country, Nigeria. I'm also a naturalized United States citizen now, so I have dual citizenship, love both countries, couldn't do without the other. Nigeria has been great. Nigeria works for us, just like America. So we're going to get into it. So when people hear Nigeria, too many people unfortunately jump to conclusions. But those of us who know, those of us who lived in the country or who still live in the country and travel regularly, either for pleasure or for business, for the past 5 years, I've been going to Nigeria consistently, annually. I'm returning to Nigeria first quarter of 2026 for business. Can't wait to go. Looking forward to that. So we know that the story runs bigger and deeper and is far more inspiring than the misconceptions. So I'm not going to necessarily say that I'm going to debunk these misconceptions. I'm not debunking them. I am just answering them based on my own experience. So let's go ahead and break it down. The biggest misconceptions, the most common misconceptions about Nigeria. So this is for you, whether you are a Nigerian based locally on the ground there, or you are in the diaspora, maybe you're an expat that's going to be based in Nigeria, or you're just a tourist visiting the country. I'm going to share with you and talk to you about the 12 common misconceptions about the country. So drop your location, guys, wherever you are, where you're joining from. Texas, Lagos, Abuja, Austria, Japan, China. Our audience spans the globe. So drop your location in the chat and let's go global with this topic. So the first segment, I broke down the segments here. The first one is going to be segmented to economy and development. And misconception number one, under economy and development, is Nigeria is corrupt. That's the first misconception. And the reality and my answer to that is corruption exists. Yes, it does. I'm not going to say that corruption does not exist in Nigeria. It does exist. But there are also hardworking people who wake up every day uh, and just take care of their family, take care of their community. Corruption exists primarily more, I would say, in the government sector. But then again, it kind of depends too. It's like what are you measuring it against? It's like, what is your definition? Yes, there's certain benefits that comes with being in a position of power. You have access to funds, you have access to resources. Some people are more ethical than others. So I'll give you an example. And here's an example I'm going to give you. So let's say for instance, you run for office and you are elected into a position of authority, whether as a governor, local government chairman, or maybe even the presidency. You are not obligated to complete the projects of your predecessor or even go along with their policies. You're going to come into your seat and into your office with your own agenda and with your own policies and with your own goals and your own focus. So, with that position comes resources, like I mentioned, finances, like I mentioned. Some people, like I said earlier, are more ethical than others, but you're not necessarily obligated to complete the projects of your predecessor. So, let's say your predecessor has a and then you come in and that bridge is uncompleted. You can choose, it's in your right and in your power to choose to either complete that project if you align with it or abandon that project altogether and push it to someone else, let it become someone else's problem. Now, an average citizen looking at that might see it as, oh, that's corruption, the person stole the money, they didn't complete the project, and this and that. So it really just varies. But in a way, there are some projects being completed right now in Nigeria. It's the same thing. There's corruption everywhere. If you look at the United States, my beloved country where I'm a naturalized citizen, at the very highest level of the US government, one can say that corruption exists. Now, maybe the United States system is more transparent than the Nigerian system, but I think that the Nigerian actual system is actually starting to hold people accountable now with the being in a connected digital world now. Transparency is literally paramount. I'll probably say, like in the past, like when you look at Nigeria, let's say from 1990 to let's say 2010, that 20-year window, at the very, very beginning of social media, which was what, 2005. So as a result of that transparency, where now people can go in and expose things that they normally wouldn't have been able to expose, I think it's starting to shape a lot of behaviors in Nigeria towards the right path. Corruption, in my opinion, is subsiding a bit. I wouldn't say that it's at US level subsiding, but I think that we are tackling it and more citizens now are becoming a lot more vocal, especially now that Nigeria is a democracy. During the military era, which I experienced a lot of coup d'etat growing up in Nigeria, where people's voices weren't as loud as a result of being persecuted or prosecuted. But now, since 1999, Nigeria is not a democracy. It's not a perfect democracy. There's no such thing as a perfect democracy. But now people can actually go online now and expose their leaders. So long as you can prove something, and I'm not talking about accusing now, accusing people of or bearing false witness. That's what I'm talking about. But now you can go, if you are a Nigerian citizen, you could be a whistleblower. If you see something, say something. So I think as a result of that, most of our leaders right now in Nigeria, both from the public and private sector, they're now operating a little bit more out of transparency and the accountability is also there. So yes, I can definitely say it does exist, but it's not Nigeria's identity today compared to, let's say, 15, 20 years ago. So Nigeria is improving. But yes, corruption does exist, just like everywhere else. Okay. So, misconception number two, everyone in Nigeria is poor. Not everybody in Nigeria is poor. Nigeria has a lower class. There is an emerging middle class right now happening, driven mostly by the diaspora. The diasporans are now the ones who are investing heavily in middle class infrastructure, middle class housing. And then you have the upper class. For a long time, it was the lower class and the upper class. There really wasn't any middle class for a long time, but that is starting to change. So no, not everybody in Nigeria is poor. Um, uh, Nigeria has a very high population of people who some people might consider living in poverty. That is what, less than $2 a day. So yes, you have some poor people. You also have some extremely wealthy people uh, in Nigeria who are doing extremely well. You may not be able to compare them to maybe people in the Western world, but then again, too, in a place like the United States and UK, the cost of living is yes, we do earn more compared to Nigeria, but the cost of living is also much higher in the Western world. And to be quite frank with you, I know Nigerians, there are some Nigerians right now that I know that are faring far better or doing far better than those abroad. I'm talking about running circles around people abroad. So, not everybody in Nigeria is poor. There's a lower class, obviously, that's the upper class. And then there's also an emerging middle class in Nigeria, and that middle class is growing. So, the wealth disparity does exist. And just to wrap that one up, for the past I would say 10 to 20 years, that disparity has always been there. Where the rich is like, you have people who are rich and doing extremely well, and then you have those who are poor and doing extremely poorly. I have been on the receiving end of both. I grew up extremely poor, unable to eat 3 square meals a day growing up. Actually, it was like maybe 1 square meal, one and a half tops two. That was my childhood growing up in Nigeria. And now most can consider me a wealthy Nigerian because there's not really nothing in Nigeria that I want at this moment that I cannot afford. So someone like me may fall in the upper class. But yes, but there are still people in Nigeria who are still struggling. Inflation is still relatively it's getting better. You know, at some point it was at 34, 35%. Now inflation is down to about 18 to 20%. So Nigeria is improving. Not everybody is poor though. Not everybody is poor. There's some rich people, middle class people in Nigeria that are doing extremely well. So misconception number three on the economy segment. Nigeria depends only on oil. That is not true. Beyond oil, Nigeria's economy is diversifying. It's diversifying to agriculture, technology, manufacturing to a degree, um, service based. Nigeria's economy, aviation, travel, a little bit of tourism here. We are far behind oil exports, though. Nigerian oil still accounts to like 64, 65% of the country's economy, but the country does not depend only on oil. For a while, they did. But in the past 2 or 3 decades, it's been slowly diversifying away from oil. Now there's this push for what is called non-oil exports, driven by the NEPC, Nigerian Export Promotion Council. They focus primarily on Nigerian non-oil exports. They work with a lot of entrepreneurs, exporters, importers, banks to help facilitate and champion non-oil exports. So we are still far behind. It's still a growing category, but I'm gonna say that oil continues, it still remains Nigeria's top export commodity, but the country is diversifying away from that. And we also participate in Bericat, my company, we participate in the Nigerian non-oil diversification in terms of like exports, securities, and real estates. We are active in those three sectors. Okay. So agriculture, fintech, fashion, exports, entertainment is also driving diversification. For those who follow Nigerian entertainment, Afrobeats, Nollywood. Again, I haven't really followed Nollywood for a while, but there are people abroad, globally, who consume Nigerian films, Nigerian music. A lot of Nigerian artists, uh, they're making a whole lot of money. So, no, the country is diversifying away from oil, but oil still remains Nigeria's top export commodity. The top engine, as far as like driver for revenue, is always going to be oil. No matter how much we push, let's not kid ourselves here. No matter how much we push into diversification, oil is still going to be Nigeria's top focus. Okay. So this is a second segment is going to be on security, culture, and diversity. So misconception number 4, Nigeria is unsafe everywhere. Okay. So no, Nigeria is not unsafe everywhere. Nigeria is more than the headlines that you see. Yes, there are some parts of Nigeria that, again, it depends on who you ask, though. So, in the south part of Nigeria, okay, I was born in Lagos, which is the southwest, close to the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, that's where I was born. That's where I grew up. But my parents are from the south in Akwa Ibom State. I spent 2 years at a village boarding school in Akwa. We were safe. Nobody bothered us. I mean, we didn't have any problems with insecurity and all that. We were young kids. We went about our lives. We studied. We went to school. We had fun. We got into fights. We made up. Now, I do have friends and suppliers in the northern part of Nigeria, and they are looking at people and the media and saying, "What are they talking about?" Yes, they have pockets of criminality here and there, but they're living comfortably well in places like Borno State. But if you look at like the State Department of the United States, there's like warnings on places to stay away from. There are certain states they warn you to stay away from. But it also depends on the traveler. Your safety largely depends on you and how you live your life and how you move. Like I have a strict philosophy when I'm in Nigeria. It's like I don't move after dark. I just don't. I don't. Everything that I need to do, that is why I've always told you guys that Nigeria rewards structure and routine. You gotta have a routine in how you move in Nigeria, period. So one of my routine is I just don't move after dark. Everything that I have to do in my business travels to Nigeria, I don't go anymore for pleasure. I go strictly for business. I schedule my day from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. If I can't get it done within that 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. window, it's just going to have to wait until the next day. Because by 4 p.m., I am wrapping up to go home or to go back to my hotel. I'm just not the type that moves at night. Even in the United States, where I live in Las Vegas, yes, I can move safely out here. But then again, what am I doing moving around at 2 o'clock in the morning with the family? Where am I going after dark? when my family is at home. So it's not as if when I get to Nigeria, I'll then walk into a phone booth and become Superman and become someone entirely different. No, my movement and the way that I operate is an extension of what I do back in the United States. I'm telling you guys, I'm 47 years old. Put it this way, 8:30 p.m. I'm in bed. Because our daughters go to bed at 8. I might come into my office, smoke a cigar and watch TV or work, but I have no business going out after dark. Maybe if my friends are in town, if a buddy's in town, I might go out with him and have a drink. But how often do I do that? Once every 6 months? I can count on one hand how often I meet friends. Las Vegas is the top hospitality destination. We have casinos out here. Everybody wants to come to Vegas. But I can count on one hand how many times I go out a whole year. So then, why then would I go to Nigeria and run the streets and so-called paint the town blue? So it depends on you. Some people are not disciplined. And again, I don't go flashy. If you've seen my wardrobe over the past, let's say, 5 years, I don't wear any designer clothes. I don't have any fancy jewelry. What? I have an Apple Watch. That's it. My shirts are American branded shirts. So I'm not like others. Again, there's nothing wrong. If you want to be a fashionista and you want to be a fashion guy, you're going out there and you're wearing your Gucci and your Versace and you're showing off to people in Nigeria that don't care, that you don't know. That's one thing. You're drawing attention to yourself. And I'm one of those, I'm very disciplined and bold. Like I can literally walk into anywhere in Nigeria right now and blend in. It's not as if I'm ducking and hiding. It's just my lifestyle. So safety, self-preservations generally lie on the person. Yes, I have to admit, some states are more unstable than others. They have their issues. Zamfara State is one of them right now. Even the FCT, Abuja, has its problems. But I have to be selfish here, guys. I'm from Akwa Ibom State. I want investors in Akwa Ibom. Let me just plug my state right now. Akwa Ibom is hot right now, as in good hot. It is safe. It is safe. It is pro investment. It is pro Western. We have a very robust aviation infrastructure where you can go in and out of Akwa Ibom State with no issues. I'm investing in Akwa Ibom right now. So if you're looking for a place to come to where you feel safe, where your investment feels safe, where your money is safe, please come to Akwa Ibom State and invest with me. Then there are other areas that's just problematic and they've been that way for so long. The northern part, a little bit of that. And again, I don't want to vilify northern Nigeria because we are all one as a country. But those parts, people can generally say those are the parts that are always on the State Department's website of places to avoid. But Akwa Ibom is not one of them. Akwa Ibom is relatively safe. If you're looking at investing in Akwa Ibom State, talk to me. Let's see what we can do. Okay. So that is it. So what is the next one? Misconception number 5. All Nigerians are the same. Isn't that insane? Like that's just generalizing, right? I mean, you have 250 plus ethnic groups in Nigeria. You have 36 states. Yes, English is it's the commercial language of Nigeria, but you have a Ibibio where I'm from, you have Yoruba in the southern part of Nigeria. I mean, Nigeria is a melting pot, a diverse cultural country. Many, many cultures in Nigeria. We have multiple dialects. You can literally be in one spot and they have a different dialect, and then you walk across the next town and it's a completely different dialect. So all Nigerians are not the same. Yes, we are okay. We are all the same in the sense that we are all Africans and we are all Nigerians. But there's tons and tons of languages, different foods, different cuisines that I think tourists and travelers will actually enjoy. Um, so yes, that one I'm going to debunk for sure. I'm going to debunk that. I will fight till the death on that one. All Nigerians are not the same. There's a high diversity in Nigeria, multiple tribes, multiple languages in Nigeria. So no, we are not all the same. Can we discuss diaspora role in development one day? Yeah, of course, maybe tomorrow. Why Akwa Ibom versus Lagos too saturated? Don't worry. I'm gonna get to that one. I'm gonna get to that one, CJ. So here's why Lagos is saturated. It's just, and I've said this before in previous videos. It's just because that it's originally the commercial capital of Nigeria. So when I fly into Nigeria, guys, I usually fly through Lagos. It's where I know Lagos is bustling. There's a lot of money in Lagos. Nobody can dispute that. Lagos is the official number one in terms of making money in Lagos. Look, I'm one of those that will tell you, come to Akwa Ibom and invest, yes, but also don't have something in Lagos. I want you to have something in Lagos. I'm actually encouraging you right now to have some sort of investment assets in Lagos. Because no matter what, Akwa Ibom can be as big, Akwa Ibom can grow all it wants to, but Lagos is always going to be number one. Don't let anybody fool you. I grew up there, I was born there. If you want to make your money in Nigeria and you are not in Lagos, there's a problem. Have a presence. For us, to us, Akwa Ibom just happens to be where I'm from. That's my homestead. That's where my family is. So me, I can sleep well at night knowing that my investments are safe in Akwa Ibom State. And it's also an emerging economy. Akwa Ibom State is an emerging economy. Do you know that right now? A lot of people don't know this. The state of Akwa Ibom right now is currently, and you're going to hear this for the first time from me, they are accepting proposals to build Akwa Ibom State Broadcasting Corporation. Do you guys know that? I saw a 20-page proposal the other day for $10 million. So if you are this, if you are interested in submitting a proposal to build, I know the person that's actually handling it firsthand. My advice is start at minimum $10 million. Don't do anything $10 million. And hedge your proposal on the dollar, not the naira. Because those guys are going to pay you in dollars. I saw it. They came down on my WhatsApp the other day. I saw a 20-page proposal. And guess what? It's from an offshore company in India. Nigerians are not even aware. Nigerians are not even aware. And that's why you guys tune in, because I give you the plug. Akwa Ibom state government right now, if you are in construction, you are a consultant, they are accepting proposals right now, multi-million dollar proposal right now to build the Akwa Ibom State Broadcasting Corporation. You heard it first on Barricade. You can be a big fish in a small pond in smaller areas versus Lagos 100%. And Akwa Ibom, actually, you make a good point because I consider myself a big fish in a small pond. If I were to go to Lagos right now, I will be a crayfish compared to some others that have been doing it for years. I'll be a small fry in Akwa Ibom. Sorry, in Lagos State. When it comes to investment. But in Akwa Ibom State, just because that's where my family is from, we've been operating in Akwa Ibom State before it even became Akwa Ibom. It was Cross River then. So it's a state that I feel personally most comfortable in. Not saying I'm not comfortable in Lagos. My uncle is doing extremely well in Lagos right now. I have contacts in Lagos. But I prefer, Lagos to me is just more a place where I go and enjoy myself. I don't want to be hustling in Lagos. I want to hustle in a small markets like Akwa Ibom and then just go to Lagos and just enjoy. It depends on what you are optimizing for, guys. It depends. Let me tell you, people in Akwa Ibom State, guess where they spend their money? They go to Lagos to spend their money. Because Akwa Ibom is too small to have fun. It's really a place where you go, you make your dough, you get out of Akwa Ibom, you go to Lagos, you go to Abuja and splurge. Because Akwa Ibom doesn't really have a nightlife. God damn it. If you guys are finding, if you're enjoying this, like and share, please. Subscribe. Akwa Ibom doesn't have a nightlife. There's opportunity there. We don't have a downtown. We don't have most people in Akwa Ibom State entertain themselves within the confines of their own homes. There really isn't a place to go in Akwa Ibom State to just go and chill and have a good time. We don't have an outdoor mall. We don't have a downtown, like I mentioned. We don't have a town square. We don't have shopping centers. I'm not talking about this going and I'm talking about shopping where you can actually go. My wife and I were talking about it. A place where you take your family, you shop, you dine, maybe you catch some entertainment. We don't have that in Akwa Ibom. Lagos has. Lagos has. So that is why people come to Akwa Ibom for peace of mind. They know they can come. There's a lot of construction going on right now, guys, in the States. And then once they make their money, they just go to Lagos, which is more diverse. Lagos is a bubbling city. Nobody can argue against that. My mom is in Abuja. I don't play too much in Abuja. But Lagos is always going to be number one. Always. Compared to other markets. Okay, so let's move on to the next misconception. So we talked about all Nigerians being the same. No, all Nigerians are not the same. So misconception number 6. Nigerians only migrate for survival. I don't know. I don't think that's true. Okay. When I came to the US at the age of 11, there was no such thing as Japa back then. That was May 1996 was when I came to the US. That word did not exist. How did I enter the US? My father came in the late 70s. He got admission to Texas Southern University to study biology. It was during his trip to the US that I was conceived. When he came to visit, then my parents met and I was conceived. So I didn't see my dad for the first 4 years of my life. I was 4 years old when I saw my dad. That's a different story. I can share that another time. But he migrated out of educational opportunity. You have to remember, back in the late 70s, the USD was about 80 kobo in the late 70s. I remember in the early 80s, when my dad, like I said, I saw my dad for the first time in 82. I was 4 years old. I remember vividly with them talking about how Naira, US, so it was 1 Naira to $1 in the early 80s. So there wasn't any need for people to quote unquote, leave Niger for survival back then. It was more, even the universities, you could compare Nigerian universities to Western universities back then. It was just a matter of choice. Because my father's friend, whom I'm still in contact with today, the two of them that left Nigeria together in the late 70s. I actually spoke with the gentleman. I spoke with him a couple of days ago. He was the reason my dad came to the US. Just like, man, I'm going abroad. Do you want to come? My dad could have easily said, no, I want to stay. Oh, wow. Okay, let's go. That was how it was. He had the same opportunity back then. As a matter of fact, all their mates that came to the US in the late 70s, most of them returned to Nigeria after their college education. My dad decided to stay. And as a result, they started my paperwork and I migrated in 1990. To be honest with you, even in 1990, I believe it was 1 Naira to maybe $1 to maybe 2 Naira. Nigeria was still good then. But today's generation that's migrating now, they are saying that they are migrating out of survival. I don't believe that, because there are Nigerians right now that are doing better than those abroad. Why do you think most people in the diaspora right now are looking at Nigeria? They are looking at returning to Nigeria. Maybe not permanently. But people these days, like in the past 5 years or so, I would probably say it's been accelerated over the past 2 years. Most Nigerians in the diaspora now are looking back at what they can do back home. Would you call that going back out of survival? It's called going back out of diversification. So you have those who think Nigeria is a failed state. And I've said this before in previous video, Nigeria is not a failed state. Nigeria has a functioning government. It's not perfect, but we have a functioning system. People are invested in Nigeria day in and day out right now. Can you try that in a failed state? You cannot. So when you see the migration, people migrating out of Nigeria, and actually right now since like the visa lottery, if you guys remember that visa lottery, my cousin is actually a benefactor of that visa lottery. They don't do that anymore. But because Nigerians actually were part of the people that helped stop that. Because we had more people migrating out of Africa than maybe all of Africa combined. That was what killed the US visa lottery. And those who are jackbarring now, I know someone who sold his filling station just to leave the country. And now that person is in the UK roasting. People always think UK. Nigeria is better than the UK. Do you know? It's extremely difficult for you to be rich in the United Kingdom. Very difficult. Because it's a different system. You can be rich in the US 10 times over. Even in Canada, 10 times over than you can in the UK. So the UK to me is not, when someone tells you that they are jackbarring to the, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Stay home. If you're going to go anywhere, maybe you go to Dubai or you come to the US or maybe you go to Canada. What are you going to the UK to? Maybe Ireland, Germany. What are you going to London, England to do? Nigerians are suffering. But life is sweet in Nigeria with diaspora money and we want to build Nigeria. Look, it doesn't even have to be diaspora money. Even local Naira there, life is sweet. My uncle worked in oil and gas in Nigeria. He has never ever invested abroad. Yes, he came abroad on his business trips, first class this, first class that, all with Niger money. He is thriving right now in Nigeria, all with Nigerian money, all with Naira. He's never invested abroad. He has no investments abroad. All his investments are back home, homegrown. There's nothing he can, if the guy wants to come to the US tomorrow, he can afford to. But you're right though. Life is sweet anywhere with money. It's not about just the money though. It's also about lifestyle. Because there are a lot of people right now with money that are not enjoying life. That's why I value peace of mind. It's good for you to have money. Money solves a lot of money problems, but there are some problems that money does not solve. So no, some migrate. A lot of these guys today that are migrating for the wrong reasons. They think the grass is greener. People think when you come abroad, you just wake up and you just go to your backyard and pluck the money. The streets are paved with gold. It's a misconception, since we are actually on that topic. Because they still have to wake up in the morning and grind. Especially in the United States. There is no such thing as a 40-hour work week anymore in the US. Ask Elon Musk. These corporations, that's one of the reasons why I left. Because I was working 12 hours a day to my bones. And I realized, though, that the more money I made, the more I spent. It was almost as if I was rewarding myself for the wrong reasons. I'm working 12 hours a day. Yes, I'm making a lot of money, but you know what? I'm going to go and treat myself. That's the American system for you. Minimum 60 hours a week is what they're asking people. In some cases, they even want you to sleep at the office. So these new generations of Nigerians that don't know structure, they've never held a job, they don't know how to move around in a corporate system, they are going to struggle when they come overseas. And the system now is not a system that tolerates any sort of like crime or fraud or credit card swiping that Nigeria was known for a decade ago. Now there's cyber security is strong. There's cameras everywhere. There's forensics, digital forensics everywhere, that if something is not aligned or something is off, they are grabbing Nigerians left and not just Nigerians, just people committing. Put it this way, it's extremely difficult to get away with crime today. Very difficult. The only way you can make it, you can either start a business or do a normal job or invest or get into real estate. But if you're thinking about coming to the US or abroad to commit crime, crypto, all that, they will nab you. And they are not giving people a slap on the wrist anymore. Now people are going away for 20, 30 years. And then once they've completed their sentence, they'll deport you. Simple as that. The cost of living is much higher in the West. We all know that. They will account for lunch breaks and others and all that. Yep. So let me just tell you guys a little bit. When out my personal example with my kids. So when Jeanette and Nelly, when they were both at daycare, now Jeanette is in my oldest, she's in first grade. So we are not paying for daycare anymore for Jeanette. Do you know that our daycare bill was $1,600 a month just on childcare? Let me calculate that in naira using 1500 as an exchange rate. So 1,600 times 1,500. We were paying an equivalent of 2.4 million naira per month for childcare. They are not even talking about food. Now, Jeanette is out of childcare. Now she's in grade school. But my youngest, Nelly, we pay $40 a day for her childcare. She can't stay home with me. I work from home now. She will drive me nuts. And I have a job to do, so I can't babysit while my wife is at in school. She's an educator. So we still pay $200 a week for Nelly times 4. $800 in childcare for our youngest daughter. She's going to be 4 years old in December. And we have another year to go before she enters kindergarten. So 800 times 1,500. We are paying an equivalent of 1.2 million naira per month for our youngest for childcare. Food is not included, medicals are not included, throw in our mortgage, throw in our car payments, throw in our lifestyle. It adds up very, very fast. Do we make more money? Yes. Do we make enough money to cover our bills and our expenses and have some leftover for investments? Yes. But the bottom line is the cost of living is extremely high in the Western world. How much is the average, for those who know, how much is the average rent for a 3-bedroom flat? Decent to in Nigeria. What are people paying? ₦1 million per year? Let's do the math. So 1 million divided by 1,500. So you are paying $666 per year to live in a 3-bedroom flat in a decent part of Nigeria, Lagos, Uyo, Akwa Ibom, maybe Port Harcourt. Some might argue me is more. Let me give you 5 million if you are paying that. So 5 million naira divided by 1,500. So let's say you are paying $3,333 per year for accommodation only, divided by 12. $277 per month. That is my grocery bill for a family of 4. every maybe 2 weeks. That's what we pay for food alone, groceries alone. That's it. What you pay for your rent per month is what someone like me, a family of four, me, my wife, and our two young, and our kids are still young, so they're not even eating that much. We are spending nearly $300 every 2 weeks on just food. So the cost of living abroad is much higher than in Nigeria. So all those people who are jackbarring or living or migrating, they are not doing it out of survival. They are migrating maybe for just sheer lack of ignorance. I had a 45-year-old guy the other day messaging me talking about he wants to jackpot to come and go to school. Are you nuts? Which degree do you want to earn at 45? What are you talking about? This is somebody with banking experience. Wants to come overseas. Number one, to come and get an education that he already has in Nigeria. He wants to come and do part two. When you finish with that education, you still have to align with the American system, which is going to take at least a minimum of 10 years for you to figure it out. The credit system, the economic system, and on top of that, while you are scraping by, just trying to make a living, keep a roof over your head, keep some food in your belly, now that you are abroad, your relatives back home are now looking at you like an ATM. At every turn, they are reaching out to you for money. This person is sick. So the trap that most Nigerians fall into is as they are building and developing, they are also taking care of people back home. In-laws, uncles, aunts, their children, friends. That is why you see a lot of people who are jackbarring. To them, they might think that they are going to be better off, but they end up becoming far poorer abroad than they would have been in Nigeria. Because in Nigeria, nobody's really looking at you. But when you come abroad, listen, immigrate if you want, because I left Nigeria when I was 12. My dad left in the mid-70s. That's why I'm in the position that I'm in today. But if I'm doing... There was one letter that I read that my dad wrote. I wasn't supposed to say that letter. My dad wrote this letter in the 90s to his aunt. You could feel the tears, or at least I could feel, based on what I read, the tears falling out of his eyes to the page of that letter, talking about everything, about how everybody is calling him for money, how he's become this and that. And my dad said one line. He said, "I'm not rich." He said, "If I were rich, I would be in Nigeria." He didn't say, "If I were rich, I'll be abroad." He said, "If I were rich, I would be in Nigeria." I still have the letter. So you think leaving Nigeria to go overseas is a step up in 2025? It's not, oh. Especially when you are in your 40s. I can understand if you are in your 20s, you have some time. Or maybe if you were just like me, a child, a minor, you don't have a say-so in your movement, I can get that. But nobody over 35 years old should be immigrating out of anywhere. You've heard it from me. You have a much better chance making something happen back home in your 30s and 40s than you do abroad. They go into healthcare now. Abusive is not the healthcare that you and I know. Is the other one. There are two types of healthcare. You have those that are like surgeons and doctors and nurse practitioners, family doctors. You see, that's the healthcare that I want to see in Nigeria. It's not the other one that you are cleaning people up. They are spitting in your face. Patients are abusing you. CNA, I think CNA is what they call it. That is the kind of healthcare that 99% of Nigerians are doing abroad. Can they do that back home? So you will sell all of your assets. You will sell your land. You will sell your filling station, which I know somebody who did. You sell all of your houses to raise money to come to the US and do CNA work at the hospital for 12, 14 hours a day overnight. CNA people don't sit down. They stand on their feet 14 hours a day overnight to take that salary that's taxed. It has to be taxed. And then you send it back home to take care of friends and family. That is what Nigerians are leaving Nigeria to come and do in the US and other Western markets. Is that survival? Is that madness? Is that, I mean, what is it? That is what is happening. And look, another one is being a taxi driver. The Somalians already have that market. Every Somali person is a taxi. So you left Somalia to come abroad to come and drive a taxi or do security guard. And you're calling it jackmaring for survival. Look, immigrate if you want to. If you have the opportunity to leave Nigeria and you feel like it's the grass is greener on the other side, just know that yes, infrastructure wise, security wise, we can all agree that the Western world, compared to Nigeria, some parts of Nigeria, not all, is maybe safe. Because I can call 911 right now. Something happens to me. This roof caved in. I call 911. Within 2 minutes, they'll be here. Try that in Nigeria. I told you guys this story in previous videos where I reported a matter to the police. Serious matter to the police. And they told me that I have to pay them in order for them to investigate the matter. So I have to pay for my own investigation. I ended up dropping that matter, and the only way that I resolved that matter was I got a lawyer involved. It seems that people in Nigeria are more afraid of lawyers than they are of law enforcement. That was how I was able to get that matter resolved. And as a matter of fact, I wasn't even made whole 100%, but this was a money related issue. I was able to recover. How much did I recover? I think I recovered like 85% of that, and I was so happy. And out of that recovery, I paid my lawyer out of that recovery. So I lost a good 30%, but I was still happy that I recovered 70% of the funds from this individual. That was what happened to me. Could you try that here? You owe me money here. I sue you for emotional damages. I will sue you punitively for punitive damages. And I'll also sue you on top of what is owed. By the time it's all said and done, if the judgment is on my side, you could lose your home. You could lose your savings. You could lose everything. That is how the American system works. And that is why most people just mind their own business. Majority of people in America don't look for trouble. They mind their own business. The only way that I'm fighting anybody abroad or even back home is if my life is in danger. Otherwise, I just mind my business, go about my merry way, take care of my family, handle my business, do my investments, go about my live life simple. That is how the system works. Abroad. At least I can't generalize and say all about it for America. So Nigerians, we have professionals abroad. We have investors like myself. We have innovators. There are a lot of people doing good things. You go to Houston, Texas. There's a strong Nigerian demographic in Houston. You have people starting restaurants or running restaurants, doing extremely well. But that's a minority. The majority of them are doing jobs that they won't do in Nigeria. And then they are taking that money. Now they are starting to wise up though a little bit now. They are investing now. They are not just sending remittances back home like they used to do before. They are investing now. Nigerians abroad. So I have to at least give them kudos for that. The lack of infrastructure in Nigeria makes things very difficult to get things going. You are absolutely right. And you and I, we actually talked about lack of Wi-Fi. I'll tell you guys this story. I was in Uyo last year, shot a lot of content on my phone. I couldn't find a reliable Wi-Fi anywhere to just do cloud downloads. I was unable to I was struggling. I called my wife. I said, I'm in trouble. I have a lot of content that I want to continue shooting. I still had a good 3 or 4 days to go in Nigeria that I didn't shoot content because there was no way for me to back it up. It wasn't until I returned back to the US that my freaking system just lit up. Download. I couldn't find that solution in Nigeria. We live in a connected age. I know Nigerians, our leaders are out there with the Chinese loans. Everybody's collecting loans left and right. But how many of those loans are actually going into digital improvements in Nigeria, Wi-Fi? It seems everybody is just building roads and flyovers. And what is up with all the flyovers anyway? How many flyovers do you need? These are basic standard infrastructures that normal Western economies solved 80 years ago. Nigerians would get together, they will sit down, they'll cut a ribbon on a road construction project. And I always kind of just roll my eyes and wonder why. So they got to fix that. Oh, CJ, guess what I did? I just ordered a Starlink Mini. that is connected to my account in the US that I'm going to take to Nigeria. But I have to bring it back though. I got the notification last week from Starlink because I've been with them since they launched in Nevada, and then they gave me a free Starlink Mini linked to my personal account here. So I can literally travel with Starlink hardware in my backpack, go to Nigeria, plug in, have literally US standard Wi-Fi. When I'm done, I pack it up and bring it back to the United States. So the Mini, the Starlink Mini, is it Mini that they call it? Is built for business travelers. Something you should look into. So then that way, when you're in Nigeria again at your Airbnb or whatever, you can just plug it out, connect it to the satellite, and be on your way. I will. I'm definitely going to do a review on it. I should be getting it here. They sent me an email. They said on the 15th, so it's November 12th. I'm recording this, and I'm traveling to Nigeria in January. So I'll do a review video on that and let you know. So okay, so misconception number 7. Nigeria is technologically behind. Okay, I'm not going to delve too much into that because we've already kind of talked about that. But Nigeria's technology is actually up and coming. It is still many, many years behind the Western world. Like we're just talking about the Starlink and Wi-Fi connectivity and internet connectivity. Nigeria is still definitely behind in that scope. As far as like electronics advancement, most electronics are like Chinese made electronics, and they are breaking down left and right. Even appliances are breaking down. My uncle, the one that works for oil and gas, that worked for the oil and gas industry, he actually still in the industry as of today. He only buys digital electronics and appliances from the US. He doesn't deal with any China made stuff. I'm actually going through that right now. The fridge that I bought, the Chinese made fridge that I bought in Lagos, the Chinese made electric cooker that I bought for my home, they are not performing the way that I want them to perform, or at least what I'm used to. Because Nigeria right now is becoming a dumping ground for Chinese products. It really is. But I've decided that once our investment property in our Airbnb short-term rental property is completed in Uyo, we are going to ship all US appliances to Nigeria, including generator. Even the generator that I bought self is falling apart. So that is that on technology. Misconception number 8. Nigeria lacks infrastructure. CJ just brought that up. I spoke earlier about it on roads, airports. Talking about airports. Do you know that when I heard about this on the news, I couldn't believe it. They are changing it though. But the Muritala Mohammed to Lagos Airport, do you know it was designed with just one door in and one door out? Who approved that design? The current Minister of Aviation is fixing that problem right now. The previous minister approved an airport design with only one door. Can you do that here? What if there's a problem? What if there's an emergency? How are people going? They're going to pass through one door. Somebody literally sat down, designed an airport with a single entryway for those going in and for those going out. And it was approved. This is the infrastructure that we are talking about. But the good news is I'm not saying don't travel to Lagos, so please travel. Nigerians, we could use some Nigeria can use tourism. We can use tourism. So I just got an email right now. If you guys heard that, my website, America.com, is actually currently down right now. So we are doing a little bit of a rollback to try and fix the issue. And that's another thing too. As far as like, I mean, I messaged them today. They got back to me within like 30 minutes. Now they're working on the problem. So if anyone is watching this right now live and you go to America.com, you can't access it. It's all scrambled up. And to actually on that topic, the developer that built that website for me is a Nigerian. He's based in Port Harcourt. So we have top notch, and this issue is not his fault. This is more of a back end issue. So we have top-notch web developers in Nigeria. For those who are interested, kindly look into hiring Nigerian talent to develop your websites for you. So they just sent me an email right now saying that they're working on the issue. Try emailing somebody in Nigeria and see if you get a response. It's not a lack of infrastructure. It's just the system sometimes is just behind. The urgency is not there. There's so many people that have emailed. There are so many things that I've submitted for. You don't even get a single confirmation that your email has been sent or received. So we are still lacking. Yes, I can probably agree that there's opportunity in infrastructure. We are lacking there. There's opportunity in technology. So if you're in a diaspora and you have an idea, or you are an investor and you are well versed in technology or infrastructure, Nigeria can definitely use your expertise. Nigeria can use your expertise in that regard, your expertise in these areas. But guys, change takes time, but progress is visible. I'm seeing a little bit of progress in Nigeria, but it's going to, listen, compared to like 5 years ago, and you're talking to somebody that goes to Nigeria every year, it's like every year that I go, I see some level of improvement. But another issue might be maintenance, because Nigeria doesn't really have a maintenance culture. So all these roads that they're building, Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway that everybody's all up in arms and excited about, how are we going to maintain it? Is maintenance cost factored into the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway that Tinubu is building? In the 20 something plus 30 plus years that I've lived in the US, there is no time that I've driven on American road that I did not see some sort of road maintenance happening. Somewhere, it doesn't matter. Big cities, small town, little villages, there's always maintenance, road maintenance happening. It's a constant thing. They might be fixing the pavement, the asphalt. They might be expanding the freeways. There's always something happening. Nigeria is just build, 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 build. Build, 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 build. There's no maintenance culture. But at least they are building something. I would like to see them put more effort into maintenance and not just building and forgetting. Because that is what happened with the Murtala Mohammed Airport, the first one. Maybe Nigeria just kind of outgrew it. But they are doing Murtala Mohammed 2 right now. Hopefully bring it up, make it a world-class airport. I want to see Wi-Fi there. I want to see AC there. Because when you exit your plane and you enter Nigeria with their hot air, AC doesn't work at the airport. AC, air conditioning in most in most commercial buildings don't work. In a hot ass country like that, you would think that they will prioritize air conditioning. That's another area too. Please work on your AC in Nigeria. Because I will never ever forget. There was a time that I came back, I forget the year that I went to Nigeria. I walked into the airport after getting off the plane. Man, that Niger hotness, that heat slapped me. and I still had to go and get my luggage. So you can imagine. But to counter that, though, I'm seeing some sort of improvement at the airport. Uh, as a matter of fact, last time that I was in Nigeria last year, my experience going through security at the airport, I mean, once you have like passed the zone where you that actually gets you out of the country, it gets better. Is once you enter is usually the problem. The moment that you check in your luggage, you get your boarding pass, and then you pass security, you pass customs, then it's almost like, wow, it's you can start seeing the experience changing. Now they have lounges now where you can go to and relax with better Wi-Fi, relax a little bit. The one that I went to Lagos Maritime Mohammed Airport was actually a very nice, comparable. You can compare that lounge to like US lounge. And I travel a lot for business. I've stayed in some of the finest airport lounges in the US. Nigerian lounges are starting to actually catch up in that regard. Okay. So moving on, we're past an hour now. Let's go to misconception number. We still have 3 to go. So misconception number 9: the government controls everything in Nigeria. The government does not control everything in Nigeria. Nigeria is a free market. Nigeria is not China where the government owns everything, controls everything. No, so that's not true. Nigeria is a free market economy. There's private enterprise in Nigeria, the state government. Um, they're actually now looking at working more in partnership with the private sector in Nigeria. I'm talking about both the local, state, and federal government of Nigeria because those guys are not business people. They are not entrepreneurs. They are just policymakers. So now they're starting to realize that in order for free enterprise to truly thrive, they have to partner with the private sector. So no, uh, Nigerian government does not control everything. It's a democracy. It actually welcomes and champions the private sector. So that is the misconception number 9 that I want to address. Technology, okay, electricity. You know that electricity has always been a problem in Nigeria now. You gotta actually become your own power supply in Nigeria right now. And I know some people are moving towards what do you call it, solar energy. But solar only works if you have a small operation. If you are an industry, you are in the industrial sector, solar can only get you so far. You have to use fossil fuel. You're going to need diesel. You're going to need industrial generators to be able to power your operation 24/7. You look at a company like Dangote refinery in Nigeria. These guys actually run their own power. They have their own they have their own grid. They don't depend on Nigeria for their electricity grid. Okay. So a company like Dangote can go 24/7. A company like Bua can go 24/7 because they have their own uh you see there's this acronym in Nigeria, BYOI, build your own infrastructure. In order for you to truly thrive in Nigeria as a business, you just have to unfortunately build your own infrastructure because you cannot depend on Nigeria's infrastructure. Like in my case, at my property, I have my borehole, I am my own water department, I have my generator, I am my own energy department, I am my own technology department in terms of Wi-Fi. So it's not as if that I can go somewhere and pay someone a monthly fee like we do here in the United States, where every month your bill comes in. Even refuse, like your trash, you have to be your own trash department. So in our own case, I know this sounds medieval, but in my property in the village, I burn my own trash. So I have a little pit. I have a little trash pit. When I'm done and I'm ready to leave or while I'm there in the village, because that's where I stay, because I don't have a garbage company that I can call to tell them to come and grab garbage. I don't have that. So a way for me to recycle or dispose of my garbage is I have a garbage pits where I burn my trash in the village. Yeah. So uh any comments on buildings, investments being torn down? Yes. So you look at that's actually happening right now. You see that more though in bigger cities like Lagos and Abuja. With you look at the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway, they did tear down a lot of buildings, and a lot of those buildings and investments came from the diaspora. They are going through the court system right now, and from what I understand, those guys who were affected or the investors who were affected, they will be reimbursed, but only at a fraction. Because according to the Nigerian government, they built on federal land and they built on federal property. So Tinubu is just saying, let's just give them a little bit of money to compensate them for the stress and for the headache, but they are not going to get 100% of their investments back. And that is one thing too that I always tell people: shiny opportunities, be very, very wary. Beachfront opportunities, beachfront homes, be very, very, very careful, because you can only build within a certain radius of the beachfront to, I don't know how many miles that they give you. Most of those beachfront properties are federal properties. So any developer right now that is selling and marketing beachfront estates, I am not saying that they are not legitimate, but I'm saying you gotta do your due diligence. Those beachfront properties in Nigeria, they are largely owned by the federal government. At any given time, they can come for them, tear them down. You saw what's going on right now with Inyesom Wike in Abuja. He went and seized the property with C of O that was paid for by Julius Berger 20 years ago. Wike came in and said, no, that's state property, we are taking it. So these are the things you got to be very, very, you got to be, as a smart investor, you are better off in more emerging markets in Nigeria. Imo State, Enugu, Anambra, Akwa Ibom, Oyo, Ogun, Ekpe, those areas. And if you have to do Lagos, buy from somebody that already owns a property that's not near the beach. You can go to Ikoyi. Ikoyi is established. Lekki Phase 1, those areas are established. But all these fancy, okay, Eco Atlantic. If you have the funds, you can invest in Eco Atlantic. I visited Eco Atlantic when I was in Nigeria last year. You see, that is a beachfront property that I can get behind. So long as it has a Eco Atlantic brand on it, you are safe. You can invest in those sort of properties. But vanity property developers that are just popping up left and right and saying, we have a beachfront house, we have a you might want to do careful due diligence on them before you invest. But I think Eco Atlantic is okay. They've been doing very, very well. They've been around for 40 years or more, 30 years or so. They've been around. The people behind Eco Atlantic, they've been around for a long time. That is the only beachfront property developer that I would say look into. Now you're talking about multi-million-dollar homes, though. These Eco-Atlantic properties are not cheap. They are cheap depending on cheap is all relative. Someone can look at an Eco-Atlantic property right now and say, give me 20 of those. To them, no, money is nothing. But if that sort of property aligns with your pockets, you want to look into getting a beachfront property in Nigeria, you want to get behind it, look into Eco-Atlantic, and you can just go there. Listen, if you are going to be spending multi-million dollars on properties in Nigeria, why would you want to do it remotely? Just go to Nigeria. Eco-Atlantic has an office right there on what is that road? It's the same road that my hotel is on, Victoria. What is it called? The Federal Palace Hotel. Eco-Atlantic, they have an office there. It's like literally right there in front of you. You can walk into there and talk to them and see what they have and make your decisions from there. But I always say that if you have that kind of resources and that kind of money to invest in Nigeria, don't just depend on the advice or words of real estate agents. Come to Nigeria and see what's happening yourself. If you have that kind of money, you can hop on a first class flight, business class flight for $5,000, $7,000. Come to Nigeria, spend a week or two, look around areas of interest. If you are particularly interested in Lagos, look around VI. Look around established brands, like I mentioned, like Eco-Atlantic, and see what they have to offer. So Eco-Atlantic also have like partner companies that they work with in their under their Eco-Atlantic umbrella. They have other properties. Eco-Atlantic is who you want to ask to recommend other builders. Because I'm telling you right now, guys, I am Akwa Ibomite. I'm an Akwa Ibomite true and true. I love Akwa Ibom. But VI, the construction happening in Victoria Island right now, massive. These homes they are $1 million homes. Earlier about the misconception about everybody in Nigeria being poor. Enter VI and see for yourself. Actually, start there. And then come back and say and ask if Nigerians are and ask if every Nigerian is poor. Every Nigerian is poor. So yeah, check it. I've never done business with Eco-Atlantic, but they've been around for a while. I remember back in the early 2000s when they were building VGC, Victoria Garden City. I had an opportunity to invest in VGC, and I walked. Today, I would have been a multi-millionaire over and over again, and I invested in VGC in 2003 when I had the opportunity, when it was brand spanking new. So misconception 9, we talked about that. Government does not control everything. Misconception number 10 falls under reputation and global influence. This one is, CJ brought it up earlier. Nigerians are scammers. That is misconception number 10. Nigerians are scammers. No. That stereotype, please, is outdated. It's an outdated stereotype. And I know I still see it. I see it actually on my own YouTube channel. You post, occasionally somebody will write, oh, scammers, 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 Nigerians, scammers. That narrative, please, is outdated. And it's very, very harmful. Yes, it's a badge and it's a jacket that Nigerians all over the world wore for a couple of decades. They wore that jacket for many years. No, not all scam is everywhere, but there are hardworking Nigerians out there. Nobody is out there to scam you. I think a lot of the times too, when people get taken for a ride, it's usually due to greed. Someone comes and tells you, invest 1 million, and in a month I'll give you 10 million back. You run and invest. Or they'll tell you that you got to pay money for them to unlock a certain amount of money they have buried under their father's graveyard, and in order for you to access the cemetery, you got to give them 20% of that money so you can get 50 million. It's usually out of greed. So unfortunately, I have to say this. I have to look people in the eyes directly and say this. There's scam everywhere you go. There are people in the US right now, in the UK, Canada, India, China, that are trying to take people for a ride. But unfortunately, this scamming thing is really outdated. Millions of honest Nigerians out there, they are working hard, they are studying hard, they are leading global companies, they are building businesses, they are investing strategically uh, all over the world. So yes, that narrative that Nigerians are scammers is far from the truth. And all jokes aside, I'm saying this to everyone who cares to listen. If you see a Nigerian out there, respect them just like you would respect any other nationality that you will see there with Nigerians. I mean, it's one of those things that I actually defended and I continue to defend. When I tell people, and I'm a proud Nigerian, I wear it with honor. I do not hesitate to tell people where I'm from. And yes, sometimes you always get that energy that we are doing some sort of crime, or we are coming, or Nigerians, or we are scamming people. And I always check them immediately, like, no, that's you're looking at a professional person, you're looking at a family person who has a legitimate, solid business, and that's just one person. There are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of Nigerians like me all over the world, making a living, improving lives, supporting their communities as best as they can. And yes, you have those that are giving us bad raps, but that is usually that narrative is old. There's a new generation of Nigerians right now that are actually helping make people's lives better, and those deserve recognition as well. So no, Nigerians are hardworking and they're not out there scamming people. Okay, so CJ said you can often grease palms to get things done, including in government office. You can, but it's not something that I would advise. I would always say if you're going to do anything in Nigeria, work ethically within the boundaries of the law. Listen, for those who are doing things under the table, sticking arms under the table to collect bribes and collect, one day you're going to do that, and there's just not going to be an arm there for you to grease. So just be mindful of that. Always know the law of the land. We can all agree that bribery is a crime. I don't bribe. I don't play outside the legal the boundaries of legality. I don't do that. If it takes you longer for you to accomplish something by doing it the right way, do it. Trying to cut corners, you are never ever going to win. You are always going to lose. Everything that you compromise to gain, you lose ultimately. So, greasing palms isn't something that I would advise any investor to do. In Nigeria, don't do it, run away from it, have no business with it. Yes, you can go to a business meeting and take someone out to lunch and try to get them to see things that you see. I think that's normal. But when you're bribing and breaking the law just to get something done, you will lose all the time. So stay away from that. I'm not advising you. I'm just giving you um just based on my experience. You can do whatever you want, but when it comes to that, the greasing of the palms, the bribery, that is something that you want to stay away from. You want to work ethically. and slowly, brick by brick, build your brand, build your business, build your team. You're going to be judged based on honesty and transparency. The moment that people start associating you with unethical dealings, that is generally the end of your career and is the end of your investments. So err on the side of legality, work within the boundaries of the law if you're doing anything in Nigeria. So, but people are usually good and knowledgeable at their jobs. Most of them are. Uh, no, I said you have to, not that you should. No, I mean, again, I respectfully disagree. You shouldn't, and you should not be obligated to grease anyone's palms. You should not. Um, yeah, yes. Can I interview you about diasporans and Nigerian development? Sure, absolutely. I'll be okay with that. Okay. So let's move on to the next misconception. Misconception number 11. We are almost there, guys. Nigeria isn't a good place to invest. That is not true. There's opportunity in Nigeria now than there's ever been. Nigeria is a great place to invest. Smart investors are making strong returns in sectors like agriculture. In our space, we are in the export space. We are doing very, very well in exports. We are in real estate, doing very, very well there. Logistics and exports. Listen, if you have a good idea and you're willing to be patient and you are playing a long game, Nigeria is a great place for that. But if you want to cut corners and you want to invest today and you want returns tomorrow, you want to go the crypto route and all that, which, by the way, I'm not saying don't, crypto is not. If anything, if I'm going to do crypto, I'm going to invest in Bitcoin. That's the only thing I'm investing in. Outside of maybe Ethereum, outside of that, I'm not doing anything outside. If your favorite celebrity is selling you crypto, run. You have all of these Nigerian celebrities who'll come out and they say, this is my crypto line. I think Akon came out with a crypto line once called Acoin. People lost money. You see, all this meme cryptocurrency investment is usually the problem. But Bitcoin has been around. I think right now it's about $115,000 for one Bitcoin. If you have that, you can invest in Bitcoin, leave it there for 20 years, and you're okay. But anything outside of that, Ethereum has also been around. I think Ethereum right now is about $4,500. But you can look into something like that, invest in. But as far as like non-oil exports, here's another thing too. As far as like oil, and I said this before, that Nigeria is primarily an oil-driven, like oil drives 64% of Nigeria's GDP. But there's the margins in oil is also very tiny. People don't know this. My uncle is in oil and gas. It is not as profitable that as people think. It's not. And it's also a legacy sector that's been around for over 100 years. It's going to be extremely difficult for you to make money in oil and gas today. That is why you need to diversify into a non-oil sector. Go into agriculture, go into farming. Don't go into livestock though. Anything that is living and breathing, learn from me. Stay away from livestock and ranching investments. When you are raising cattle or goats, sheep, chicken, fish, you want to avoid those sort of sectors. But you can get into manufacturing, you can get into raw materials, manufacturing raw materials into finished goods that you can export into the United States. Another advice too, you want to get into consumables, basic essential consumables like food products, things that people buy over and over again. These are recession-proof businesses. Food processing. People are going to need to process their whole pepper into pasted, regular, grounded pepper. Basic things like that, that most people don't find sexy, is where the opportunity is. So you look at us, we have a business in Nigeria, we lease out construction equipment, cement mixer, compactor, ground compactor for foundations, block making machine. These are little basic things that Nigerians use or builders use every day. We have a equipment leasing business. Haulage is also a good business that you can get into. You can invest in a dump truck to haul sand and haul granite rocks or building materials from one site to another. These are things that you can invest in. So Nigeria is a great place right now for construction. As you guys know, there's a lot of focus right now on road construction, building construction. The housing deficit in Nigeria is beyond. These established sectors is what you want to look into. As far as like things to invest and a place to invest, like I said, food, agriculture, farming, processing, waste removal, being able to take recycling. These are areas that you can invest in. What's your thoughts on Nigerians and diasporans buying land in Nigeria? Personally, I think land, in all honesty, should be a secondary investment to securities. And this is what I mean by that. If you are in the US, if you're in the United States and you have $5,000, $10,000, let's just say $10,000 to spare right now. If I were advising you, I would tell you to put 80% of that in the S&P 500 index funds, stocks, US stocks. And then the other 20%, you can just go and buy a piece of land in Nigeria somewhere. If you want, that's if you're operating remotely. You see, before, land used to be like, for us, for a very long time, land was real estate was our number one. Now we've dropped it down. So long term for us now is securities, investing in S&P 500 and stocks. Because that type of investment, that over the past 50 years, I'm talking about like the S&P 500, it has 10% over the past 50 years. So just if you were to invest $10,000 and you just leave it there for 20 years, you don't have to worry about somebody encroaching on your stocks. In Nigeria, there's always that fear or that chance of somebody encroaching on it happens. Someone will just come and start farming. You are abroad. I'm not saying don't invest in real estate, but that should not be your primary portfolio. Securities. So for us, we have a manufacturing portfolio. We export Nigerian products and we sell them to US consumers. Highly profitable for us. Because we can buy in Naira. There is no feeling on this earth. If you experience it, you are buying something in Naira and you are selling that thing in dollars. That is what we do. That is what America does. We are invested in food. We bring in Nigerian spices branded under the American brand. We have our turning sticks. We are expanding into kitchenware branded under the American brand. All of this is manufactured in Nigeria with Naira. And then we sell them in the United States and we repeat the process. So to answer, I hope I've answered that question is you can buy land in Nigeria, but just like everything else, you want to conduct careful due diligence on land. We actually have several lands. We have a land near the Bejuleki Dangote refinery in Bejuleki. The only mistake that I did was not buying more. I bought that land for $2,000 in 2000. That land today, if you offer me $20,000, I'm not going to accept. You know why? Because Dangote is expanding this for refinery. In the next 12 to 18 months, he's going to be going from 650,000 barrels per day to 1.4 million barrels per day. And another thing is this. He's going to be launching his IPO, initial public offering, meaning Dangote refinery is going public. And I just so happen to have a land within a 30-mile radius of Dangote refinery in Ibejuleki. Why would I sell that land? But I locked in early during the pandemic. Remember the pandemic when people were free to move? That was when I bought the land because there was a lot of uncertainty in the world during the pandemic. And I always tell people, you want to invest when there's blood on the streets, even if the blood is your own. That was why we made it. My cousin bought 6 plots. Me, I only bought 1. He's sitting on something right now that is probably worth, golly, I paid $2,000 for my land. So 2 times 6. So he paid 12 grand for 6 plots. Me, I paid $2,000 for 1 plot. So if I were to hold on to my plot of land right now we're not planning, we're not doing anything with it. Let's say 20 years. And let's just say that land in 20 years is worth $200,000. I only invested 2,000. I'm hypothetically speaking here, but there's a potential for that happening. So it depends on when you buy. Right now, the world is relatively stabilized. There's really not a lot going on right now. We've passed the pandemic. So you are not really going to get a great deal on the land right now in Nigeria. You might get a decent deal, but you're not going to get a great deal like we did. Because the pandemic is a once in a lifetime matter. And we struck. So, but you still land real estate is still good to have. You have to have real estate in your portfolio. Because the 3 ways for you to get rich in this world, you want to own a small business, number 1. You need to invest in securities, number 2, meaning constantly buying stocks and index funds, number 2. And then you want real estate in your portfolio. Those are the only 3 ways for you to be rich. Notice I didn't say rob, kill, sue, work hard. I didn't say any of that. Start a small business, consistently buy index funds and stocks. It could be US stocks, it could be Nigeria stocks, and then real estate. We have all 3. This property that I'm sitting in, we own it in the US. We own property in Nigeria. We own a small business. And we are starting to invest in securities, stocks, and index funds. All those 3 elements that I just mentioned on how to be rich, I have them. And I'm telling you to do the same. Do you have a business WhatsApp where I can leave a voice note? Yes, it's 702-201-8311. That is my business WhatsApp, guys. You guys can message me there. No fishing, etc. Cat fishing. It's interesting because there's a guy that I reached out to. I was like, hey man, I have a business idea. Nigerians always say that. I have a business idea. Okay, now wait till be a business idea now. Why don't we start a fish business? I'm like, what do you mean? He said, we can be drying and selling. We can be drying and selling Nigerian fish in diaspora. I'm like, me, rich and barricade. Now me want enter fish business with you. I just deleted, like, because sometimes you get those messages from people. Always, everybody wants you to invest. I'm like, I'm not investing in fish. Let me tell you something. I've tried that before in the past, trying to bring dried fish from Nigeria to the US. Probably one of the worst things that I ever did, because I can't interact. I'm sitting there, me, a whole me, global entrepreneur. I'm sitting there sorting fish. My fingers were dirty. My clothes. I'm like, no. As soon as I sold out of that batch, I left that business altogether. And beyond that, I'm not saying selling Nigerian dried fish is bad. It's not what I'm saying. It's just not a business for me. So you will sell the land to Dangote. Listen, the way Dangote is expanding, please expand my way. You can have it. Expand my way. 30 miles is not too far. And that is 30 miles with bad road. So in America, I can drive. Let's say I'm going somewhere that's 30 miles away. It's usually 1 minute per mile. So it can take me 30 minutes to drive 30 miles, going 70 miles per hour. Meaning the freeway, a broad freeway now, no get equal. But 30 miles in Niger bad road took us 2 hours. I remember the bus ride to this property. Pothole, 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 pothole. Man, and we are talking about going and coming. 4 hours. By the time I finished my day, I was sore from head to toe. But if they fix the road and I'm driving 70 miles per hour on that expressway, whatever that they call it in Nigeria, it can take me 30 minutes. So yes, the way Dangote oil is expanding, please, I can see him expanding to where my land is. And yes, I will happily sell him my plot. Happily, he can have it. Okay, so this is the final misconception. We're going to wrap with this. This is the longest podcast I've done. It's pushing 2 hours. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please like, share, and comment, guys. CJ, thank you for your participation. I really appreciate it. So the final misconception, and if you guys want me to cover any topic in future podcasts, drop them in the comment section and I'll put it on my schedule. Why? You're wondering, why am I free to now doing? Because this is the first time I've been doing podcasts. It's because we are in Q4. We are done with our exports for the rest of the year. Now we are just focusing on sales on Amazon and Walmart. So I have some free time where I can create content. And then when I travel to Nigeria in January, you see, my run starts in January. Then I'm not going to be doing the podcast as much. But for the remainder of the year, I plan on doing this at least 4 or 5 days a week, Monday to Friday or Monday to Thursday, depending on how I feel. But for the most part, we have tied up our business for the year. We are no longer exporting anything out of Nigeria until January when I go, is when we start over again. So that's why I have a little bit of free time. So if there's anything you guys want me to cover, drop it in the comments and I will fit it into my schedule. Because right now, I don't have anything. I have an idea of what I want to talk about tomorrow. And I'll put that out later on today. So hope you guys tune in for that as well. Okay. So this is the final misconception number 12. Nigeria has no global influence. Nigeria is global. Plain and simple. So that misconception is, do you know Nigeria is actually the number 1 country in Africa? Nigeria is very important in African geopolitics, in the African economy. Nigeria is a leader in every facet of the African continent. If there's any sort of conflicts going on in the African continent looks to Nigeria for solutions. The United States looks up to Nigeria for solutions in that region. China as well. So Nigeria is global. There are Nigerians all over the world. I don't think that there's anywhere in this world, right? Maybe with the exception of Alaska, that you can go to and not see a Nigerian. We are everywhere. We are impacting cultures. We are in food. We are in music. Nigeria is in film and fashion. Nigeria is pretty mainstream worldwide. And guess what? People like Nigerians. A lot of people actually gravitates and like Nigeria because Nigeria is changing. Guys, don't listen to everything that you see or believe everything that you see. Nigeria is complex. We have our challenges just like anywhere else, but it's a powerful country. It's evolving. We have, like I said, our challenges are there, but we also have brilliance. A lot of engineers are Nigerians, doctors are Nigerians, entrepreneurs are Nigerians. I've told this story before in the past. I'm not going to share it again, but Nigerian music and entertainment has penetrated middle America. And what I mean by that is in the most remote parts of the United States, people know Nigerian music. They know Davido, they know Burna Boy, they know Wizkid. I don't follow those guys. I don't listen to their music, but you go into middle America, they know that these people exist. They follow them, they listen to their music, they consume their music, Nollywood as well. There was actually an old friend of mine in California that I didn't. That was back when I was into Nollywood. I stopped watching on Nollywood movies many, many years ago because just some of the topics I don't relate to it. So that's why I stopped. But she loved it. She loved the theater, like the theatrics of Nigerian actors. She was laughing more at the actors than what they were actually doing. Just the whole theatrics of Nigerian Nollywood films. I'm like, okay, if that is your thing, if that's what you enjoy. But, people pick and choose what they gravitate to and what they enjoy. But yeah, just like the whole theatrics of Nollywood, Nkemo, just other comedians out there that are making waves in Nigerian entertainment. So American consumers kind of like that whole slapstick theatric entertainment. And some of you guys, that una action, me I no understand. Niger action for Nollywood films, me I no understand that. And you are talking to somebody that's a film major. I majored in film at Cal State University, Northridge. I have a film degree. When I see some Niger action movies, the explosives, I just can't help to laugh. But anyway, I stopped consuming Nigerian content many years. Even on Netflix, I don't really follow nothing against Nigerian entertainers. But I'm the stage that I'm in right now. I'm not for me. Okay, so if you have learned something new tonight or today, it's 12:58 a.m. noon here in the U.S. Pacific time, and it's 9 p.m. Nigerian time right now. If you've learned something new today, you enjoy this content, please like, comment, and share. If you absolutely love it and you want more, kindly subscribe. Okay. So then that way, when I post content, you get it delivered into your inbox and you can tune in live with me. I enjoy doing this live because I don't have to worry about cutting and editing and making it all polished. This is what you see. This is what you see. So I like it being interactive. CJ, great job logging in and chatting along. But yes, message me on WhatsApp. And if there's anything you want in the future, I can definitely put it on my schedule of content and to talk to you guys about. So that is it, guys. Follow for more content. Let's celebrate Nigeria. Let's make Nigeria great again. All right, guys. I'm gonna sign out. 1:59:40. All the best. This is perfect. 2 hours of content. All right. All the best, guys. I will talk to you guys tomorrow because I'm back tomorrow. Same time, 10 a.m. US Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Nigeria time. Take care, guys.